Welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Pete Cornell. Last week on social media, you may have seen a bit of an outcry from some fans over an incident on that week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And no, it had nothing to do with any of the stories going into Survivor Series or the latest CM Punk tease. CM Punk return confirmed, by the way. During the episode of Raw, Michael Cole could be heard promoting the second season of Barmageddon, a show on the USA Network. But when he promoted the show, he mentioned that the show's host was Blake Shelton. But there are actually two hosts on that show, the other being WWE Hall of Famer, the former Nikki Bella, now going by Garcia. Nikki Garcia has now done a new interview with NBC Chicago. CM Punk return confirmed, where she spoke about that snub on Raw and her disappointment. It's sad. There's obviously a lot of things I could say about that. I think more than anything, it's disappointing because I don't see it happen with the men. For some reason, with the women who are outspoken, and we've seen this with women in the past, they just want to ban us. Both of the Garcia twins have been outspoken against WWE since leaving the company, particularly with their treatment of women. And it does seem rather pointed that they wouldn't name Nikki as a host of the show when there's a very natural crossover between WWE's fans and Nikki's appeal for the show. Meanwhile, it is in fact Survivor Series on Saturday, CM Punk return confirmed. And as has been the case since Collision's debut, that spells disaster for AEW at Sacrifice. The ratings for Collision have tanked when put up against WWE Saturday Night PLEs, and that trend is sure to continue this weekend too. But don't worry, AEW has the perfect solution. This time, they're going to move Rampage to be on Saturday as well. What? It's been announced that Rampage is being moved off of its Friday slot this week and will instead air immediately after Collision on Saturday 25th, meaning AEW has a 3-hour block directly against Survivor Series, which is certainly a choice. Not a choice I would have made, but a choice nonetheless.
AEW are counter-programming WWE.
Counter-programming a pay-per-view. Collision is set to continue the Continental Classic tournament on Saturday, so maybe that will take away those pay-per-view buys. But obviously, not with a CM Punk return confirmed, though. Seriously, though, if, and big if, but if CM Punk were to actually return at Survivor Series while Collision's on the air, it'd be quite funny, wouldn't it? Following Full Gear's match of the Golden Jets defeating the Young Bucks and the Bucks' completed heel turn, they finished up with being the Elite and filed a trademark for Super Dick Party. What that is, I have no idea, and I don't think I want to know. But it seems their turn and frustration continues as they seemingly weren't backstage at Dynamite last night. This is according to Brandon Cutler though, so, you know, pinch of salt. But maybe they'll leave Dynamite altogether. They'll head on over to Collision. They'll be colliders. CM Punk return confirmed.
It's Thursday. You know what that means. My review of the post-Full Gear episode of AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes. The show opened on what will be the main focus of AEW TV for the rest of the year. The inaugural Continental Classic Tournament, aka the G-League 1 Climax. The climax referring to how excited Tempest is.
You know, people are calling it the C2.
Oh, that's also good.
People are calling it the C2, like the G1, but there's 2 C's as well.
Yeah. Alphabetically superior, numerically inferior.
It's like C squared.
Excalibur ran down the rules. 12 competitors split into 2 round-robin blocks of Blue League versus Gold League. You get 3 points for a win and 1 point for a draw in a 20-minute time limit match. And the overall winner gets not just 1, not just 2, but 3 championships. Tony, I think the belt situation's getting out of hand. The first match saw Swerve Strickland beat Jay Lethal via stomp in about 15 minutes. It was an odd one to start the tournament with. Surely you'd want to open on an absolute banger, but this was a heel versus heel dynamic, with a limited Swerve selling the effects of his Texas Death match just 4 days prior. It meant that Strickland, fighting through injury psychologically, became the de facto face, especially with Chicago liking to chant, "Whose house?" I would have kept Swerve off TV for at least a week to sell the after effects of Full Gear. The Chicago crowd did have a wholesome pop though when they realised about 5 seconds in that MJF's entrance music was actually his mashup one with Adam Cole. The Bro Charchos were out there together who, like any good double act, complemented each other perfectly, even with their injuries. One theory has been that the Devil has never been shown on screen when Cole has been physically present on AEW TV. It's like how I've never seen Luke Owen and Hilary Swank in the same room. I can't rule out they're not the same person. But here the Devil interrupted Max's speech with Cole right there in the ring with him, seemingly ruling out Adam as the Devil. Which means we're back to CM Punk. CM Punk as the Devil confirmed. MJF even referenced Punk when Samoa Joe interrupted him, challenging him to a match on this very episode with the line, "You wouldn't be the first ROH legend I beat in Chicago. Twice." Joe declined, setting up what should be a great storyline for the next month. He wants Max to be fully healed, so he has no excuses. So from this point on, MJF is his property, which means he won't let anyone else lay a finger on him. It's a great deal with the Devil trade-off, and we'll hopefully now get that tense Joe and Max partnership I wanted going into Full Gear. This segment, by the way, has 3 more titles, with MJF having the AEW World Championship and the ROH Tag Team Championships with Cole. If Joe never vacated his belt, the ROH TV title would have been involved too. And we got even more titles next. That's 9 titles in the first half hour, with International Champion Orange Cassidy, FTW Champion Hook, and ROH Pure Champion Shibata taking on 2.0 and Jake Hager. They had a fun match, with Cassidy unveiling his Thanksgiving surprise, a returning Danhausen who's been out with injury since March. But the even bigger return was in his mind games with Jake Hager, the return of the purple hat! Yes! It landed.
First try.
I love watching Shibata wrestle. Him and Hook choked out both of 2.0 to win. Cole might not be the Devil, but he sure was acting suspicious in this episode. After almost overly persuading Max to honor his title promise to Joe, he shouted at Roderick Strong that they're not best friends anymore backstage. I actually felt bad for Strong in this moment. Next, sad. Many people are saying that Swerve is the best heel in the business right now. One of them's Pete. He's wrong. He's behind the camera. I love Swerve. I think he'll become a main eventer in 2024, but right now, he's just a very close second because Christian is on a heel run for the ages. Following him running out on his own kids at Full Gear, he blamed Luchasaurus for their loss. In an act of re-christening, he recreated Luchasaurus in his own image as punishment, renaming him Kill Switch, which is Christian's finisher. But he fawned over Nick Wayne. Nick should never get on his knees for anyone. He loves Nick. Nick shall be called the Prodigy. Christian expertly performed the abusive dad character who plays favorites with his kids. Vince McMahon to AEW confirmed. We got yet another tease that Kill Switch will eventually turn on his dad because of that treatment. He protected Nick Wayne's mum after Christian had called her a terrible mother and said obligatory dead husband line. So Christian pushed Kill Switch into her. Mum bump! Nick Wayne then got a chair for Kill Switch to do a concerto on his own mum, for Copeland to make the save and hit a concerto on Nick instead. Brilliantly not caring about Mrs. Wayne, who was crying heavily that her son had just had his head caved in while Copeland's there posing to his own music. And there's a crying woman scared for the health and life of her son. Maybe that'll involve her helping the patriarchy to beat Copeland at World's End. Jay White beat Roosh in the second Continental Classic match. Because everyone was banned from ringside, White had to cheat another way, hitting a low blow behind the referee's back. They worked really well together, but the heel versus heel dynamic never got the crowd super invested. In Tony Storm's best timeless segment so far, RJ City and Renee presented the AEW Women's Championship to her like it was the Academy Awards, complete with Tony sitting in the crowd when her name was read out. A thank you to studio boss Jack Warner, dead for 43 years, and a great line for all the little girls out there who want to be her. You'll never replace me. Sky Blue interrupted the ceremony with her entrance, potentially starting a title feud there, where she went into a 3-way match against Anna Jay and Ruby Soho. They worked well together, but the match was overshadowed by the romance storyline between Soho and 2.0's Angelo Parker at ringside. All that distraction let Blue beat Anna Jay. Wardlow nutted AR Fox backstage for giving him advice, and the main event was a great back and forth tough bastard Continental Classic match between Mark Briscoe and Jon Moxley. Somehow, the first time they've ever wrestled, Mox came in with a Full Gear lost chip on his shoulder, and Mark continues to be a great babyface. He kicked out a paradigm shift, so Mox hit a stomp and the Death Rider to win. A really good main event, the second in 3 weeks for Briscoe. Hopefully, he can start picking up some wins now, being the underdog comeback story in the Gold League. This was a very effective show building to World's End, with the classic Joe vs MJF and Copeland vs Christian. AEW Dynamite is 82%. Now go watch us count down the 10 best Survivor Series matches of all time.